Ciao a tutti e benvenuti. I have my notes here because we have a lot to go over today. Today we're going to do a little bit of review from beginning, a little bit of beginner, a little bit of intermediate, a little bit of advanced. You could also think of it as maybe a reverse translation quiz. I'm going to give you the English, give you a second to think about it, and then we'll give you the equivalent in Italian. And again, I'll start with some beginner phrases and sentences, do some intermediate phrases and sentences, and a few advanced also. Let's begin. Let's say you wanted to greet somebody. How would you say hello, or good morning, or good evening, or what's up? So we have buongiorno and buonasera. Buongiorno, you could think of it as good day, you could think of it as good morning, but not in the same sense, in the same strict sense as we have in English. You know, you can say good morning up until noon, and then after that we say good afternoon. Buongiorno, you can use from the time you get up until late into the afternoon, even early evening. And then normally around dinner time, sunset, you can start saying buonasera. And that works for all levels, formal and informal, that is. It works for everybody. If you know somebody really well, you can say ciao. I wouldn't start with ciao if you don't know somebody. You're not going to walk into a doctor's office or a pharmacy or a store and say to somebody you don't know, ciao. It's for your friends, it's for your family, it's for people that you already are familiar with. Salve is a good one. That also means hello, just like ciao. It's a greeting. And also, side note, ciao can be goodbye as well. Again, so back to salve. Salve is sort of in between formal and informal. You might go into a shop and somebody says, buongiorno, salve. I added pronto. Pronto means hello, but it's just when you're answering the phone. The phone rings, ring, pronto. It doesn't mean hello in any other sense. And if it's a male or female saying it, it doesn't matter. It's always pronto. And at the beginning, I also said, what's up? So one way you can say that is come va. Literally is, how's it going? Or how it goes. Va from andare, the verb to go. Come va, how's it going? The difference is you might get a more real answer. You know, in English we can say, how's it going? And somebody will say, good or well. In Italian, you might get more of a detailed answer. So let's move on to the next one. How would you ask somebody, how are you? So we have come stai and come sta. Come stai is for somebody that you know. It's informal. It's the to form of stare. Come stai, how are you? For somebody you don't know, come sta. That's the lei form of stare. Again, expect a real answer. If you ask somebody how they're doing or how are they in Italian, they're going to tell you what's really going on. How would you say, what's your name? And my name is. So we have come ti chiami or come si chiama. If you know somebody, the informal, or that's kind of a tough one because you don't. If you don't know somebody's name, how would you say that you know them? But maybe you're speaking to a child, or it's a relationship that you know is going to be informal. Come ti chiami, or somebody you are just meeting, another adult, or maybe your boss or your girlfriend's dad or something. Come si chiama, and the way that you answer that is mi chiamo, and then your name. Mi chiamo Sean. Or you can say sono Sean. I am Sean. Just like we say in English, I'm Sean. Mi chiamo, my name is, or literally I call myself, or sono, I am. How would you say I don't understand, or I didn't understand? Non capisco, or I didn't understand, non ho capito. What about, where's the bathroom? This is a great one that you should learn in every language. Dove è il bagno? Because dove and dove ends with the e sound and e begins with the a sound. Let's run those together. Dove è il bagno? Or, even better, in public, if you're going to ask a stranger, scusi, Dove sono I servizi per favore? Literally, where are the services, please? But it's understood, and that means the bathrooms. Where are the services that I can use? Let's move on to a little bit of intermediate. How would you say, how long does the train to Florence take? Quanto tempo ci vuole il treno a Firenze? Or, quanto tempo ci vuole per andare a Firenze in treno? So for this, we're using the word volerci, the verb volerci, which is unrelated to the verb volere, to want. Volerci is a completely separate verb, and we're going to use it when we're talking about how long something takes or something requires something. So if you're going to answer in a singular, you're going to say ci vuole un minuto, ci vuole un mese. It takes 1 minute, it takes 1 month. If you're going to answer in the plural, ci vogliono 3 mesi. It takes 3 months. So related to that, you could sort of, in a way, translate these as you need or it requires. For instance, per vincere ci vogliono soldi. To win, it takes money. Or soprattutto ci vuole intelligenza. Above all, it takes intelligence. See, ci vuole intelligenza, because intelligenza is singular, and ci vogliono soldi, use the plural, vogliono, soldi, because cash is plural, or money is plural. How would you say, as a kid, I ate pizza all the time? Da bambino, or da bambina, mangiavo la pizza tutto il tempo. Or, da bambino, da bambina, mangiavo sempre la pizza. So, we're using the imperfetto here, mangiavo, of the verb mangiare, to eat, because this is for ongoing events or things that happened in the past that are not a singular event. I used to eat pizza all the time, or I ate pizza all the time, was not yesterday I ate pizza. It's I used to do something, or I would do this in the past. So here's the next one. This is a short conversation you're having with your friend on the phone, and you say, "What are you doing?" And they say, "I'm ironing, and I have to leave in a little bit. Why?" And you say, "I asked around, and Luca wants to buy your car." I know these sentences are silly, but hopefully you're learning some new verbs, some new phrases, ways to put things together. So what are you doing? Che cosa fai? Or che fai? Or cosa fai? I'm ironing and I have to leave in a little bit. Why? Sto stirando e devo partire fra poco. Perché? Oh, ho chiesto in giro e Luca vuole comprare la tua macchina. So a couple things here. What are you doing? We use the verb fare, to do or to make. Fai for to. What are you doing? Che cosa fai? Cosa fai? Che fai? Sto stirando. I'm ironing. That's from stirare, to iron. And if you're going to use the ing form in English, in Italian, that implies that you're doing that action right now, literally right this second. Stare plus the gerund form of the verb, stirando. Sto stirando. I'm ironing. E devo partire, and I have to leave, or I have to, it's not the same as go out, that would be uscire, but I have to leave. Fra poco, in a little bit, or literally within, shortly, within small, within a little, so it means in a little bit, fra poco. Perché, why? Ho chiesto, that's from chiedere. I asked, this is the passato prossimo, simple, one action that happened in the past and now it's done. Ho chiesto in giro, I asked around. E Luca vuole, wants, from volere, comprare, to buy, la tua macchina, your car. Remember, most possessives, you're going to have the article at the beginning also, unless you're talking about a family member. La tua macchina, mia madre, my mother. You don't put la before that. Mio padre, my father. Il mio paese, my country. How would you ask a girl, have you ever been to Brazil? Sei mai stata in Brasile? Sei mai stata in Brasile? So, again, this is passato prossimo for essere. The past participle of essere is stato, but because we're using essere, it has to match. So, stata, sei stata, have you been? We're going to put mai in there. Mai normally means never, but in this case it means ever. Have you ever been? Have you never been? You could sort of say that in English and it sort of makes sense. Sei mai stata, have you ever been? In Brasile. So when you're using a country, the linking word that uses in Brasile, in Italia, in Australia. Always in for a country. Okay, let's move to a little bit of advanced. How would you ask? Again, let's pretend we're on the phone with somebody. Hey, could you pick me up? I should have left by now, and I don't have time to walk to work. Ready? Potresti venirmi a prendere? Could you pick me up? Potresti venirmi a prendere? Sarei già dovuto, or if you're a girl, sarei già dovuta partire e non ho tempo adesso per camminare al lavoro. Or, I don't have time to walk to work. Non ho tempo adesso, or non ho tempo ora per andare a piedi al lavoro. I don't have time to go on foot to work. Or per camminare, I don't have time to walk to work. So this was the, let's start with potresti venirmi a prendere. Potresti venirmi a prendere. Literally, could you come to take to me? The me we put at the end of venire, to come, basically. Could you come to take me? Could you pick me up? Sarei già dovuto. Let's drop the già for the explanation. Sarei dovuto partire. I should have left. This is the condizionale passato. The auxiliary verb that we're using is essere. Sarei is in conditional for essere. I would be. But when you put it before a modal verb like dovere, and after that you put the infinitive, it becomes I should have, and then the thing that's in the infinitive. I should have left. Which auxiliary verb do you use, essere or avere? Depends on the infinitive. So partire takes essere, so you're going to say sarei dovuto partire. I should have left. If it was a verb that takes avere, like mangiare, because mangiare requires, or rather, mangiare is transitive, to eat something. You would say avrei dovuto mangiare. I should have eaten, and then what? And then whatever you should have eaten. So here's the next one. You could have called me earlier. I suppose that the dog is starving now. I know these are silly, but hopefully you're learning something. You could have called me earlier. Mi avresti potuto chiamare prima. I suppose that the dog is starving now. Suppongo che il cane stia morendo di fame ora. Or, suppongo che il cane abbia molta fame adesso. Both of these would work. And both of them have the subjunctive at the end. So let's do the first part first, and then we'll come back to that subjunctive. You could have called me earlier. Mi avresti potuto chiamare prima. Hopefully the explanation in the previous example helps explain why this is. Mi means to me. You could have called me earlier. Avresti potuto chiamare. You could have called. Prima is before or earlier. So avresti potuto. You could have. And then the infinitive goes after that. And again, in the previous example, we explained sort of the construction of this. I suppose that, suppongo che. Anytime you're going to use credo che, penso che, suppongo che, what you're going to say next involves some doubt or some hypothetical situation because you're not sure, so you have to use the subjunctive afterwards. The subjunctive for the dog is dying of hunger, il cane stia morendo di fame, or the dog is very hungry, il cane abbia molta fame adesso. Remember stare plus the gerund, like literally if you're doing something right now, he is dying of hunger. That's the first example, stia morendo di fame. And we don't need to go into the complete subjunctive, but basically for most subjunctive, the io form, the tu form, and the lui lei form is the same word. So for stare, it's io stia, tu stia, lui lei stia. And for avere, you have, actually I'll go even one better because a lot of times it's the verb plus che. So we could even say che io stia, che tu stia, che lui lei stia. And for avere, it's blah blah blah, che io abbia, che tu abbia, che lui lei abbia. The dog has a lot of hunger right now. Il cane abbia molta fame adesso. And again, it's molta because fame is feminine. Okay, here's the final one. Well, now I have a new phone, so I would say that it was worth it. I don't know, maybe you went skydiving and you dropped your phone, but you had such a good time that you don't care that you lost your phone, so now you got a new phone. Well, now I have a new phone, so that I would say that it was worth it. Whatever the skydiving or whatever it was that you did was worth it. Allora, ora ho il telefono nuovo, quindi direi che ne è valsa la pena. Allora, ora ho il telefono nuovo, quindi direi che ne è valsa la pena. There's a couple things to explain here, to unpack. Ne è valsa la pena. Before that, let's talk about direi, I would say. So that's conditional for dire. I would say. Io direi, I would say. Tu diresti, you would say. So, ne è valsa la pena. It was worth it. So, valere is to be worth, basically. Potrebbe valere un sacco di soldi. It could be worth a lot of money. So we have the fixed phrase, valere la pena. Basically means to be worth it, to be worth the pain, to be worth the trouble. In English we say, it was worth it, it is worth it. A couple steps to get to the past tense. The past participle of valere is irregular, it's valso. But because la pena is the thing that's doing the action, and essere is the auxiliary verb, it has to match. So instead of valso, it's valsa. And again, ne can be of it sometimes. So literally, it was worth the pain of it, whatever it was. Ne è valsa la pena. It was worth it. Direi che ne è valsa la pena. I would say that it was worth it. I hope you learned something. This was really fun to make. I hope it was really fun to watch. If you're advanced or intermediate, hopefully you picked up something or it was a good review for the beginner. And if you're a beginner or intermediate, hopefully you learned something with some of the advanced ones as well. Ciao a tutti e grazie e a presto, ciao!